Look at Shinigami dust a notebook. Like Yagami, one of Japan's top students, see the notebook and bring it to home. He reads that note loose. The human whose name is writing in this note and whose face is seen by a writer shall die. The person you die with the court of death is written within 40 seconds of writing the person's name. If the cause of death is not written, the person will die of a heart attack. After writing the cause of death, details of the death should be written in the next 6 minutes and 40 seconds. He kept writing down the name of the criminal on television, a bully at his school, a motorcycle gang leader, and much more. Luke appeared and introduced himself to Light. Light said that he will use notebook to kill evil people. Light's sister Sayu asked Light to help her homework. Luke warned Light that if Sayu touches the notebook, she can see the look. So, to prevent that, Light set up his desk. He hid the death note on the bottom of the drawer, and on the top of the notebook, he put the regular diary. If someone opened the drawer incorrectly, the drawer will get fired. The International Criminal Organization, or in another word, ICPO, asked Al to solve the criminal who died of the heart attack. The ICPO explained to Watari, and Watari contact Al, and Al informed that he needs a cooperation of ICPO organization. The public called the criminal as killer. On the special TV program broadcast, a man called himself Lin L. Taylor. The Japanese task force surprised that L showed his identity, and the Lin L. Taylor is killed by the killer or Light, and said because he said that what Light do is the evil. Then after that, the TV is switched to L voice. L knows that killer can kill people without having to be there, so he mentioned that he broadcast this TV program on the Kanto region, so the killer is in the Kanto region. Light's father, Soichiro Yagami, is a police, so Light can hack his father's computer to access all the police information. Light changed the time of death of the criminal so that the criminal died during Light in his school time. Police and L discussed that the death is 1 hour apart from another death. So, L concludes that the killer can control the time of the death. The FBI sent the people to investigate the policeman, including Light's father. Luke tells Light that he can give the Light the power of Shinigami eyes. We can see the name and the lifespan lifespan, but the light had to sacrifice his lifespan in half of the remaining lifespan. Light is considering about the Shinigami Eye, and he decided that he reject the Light look Shinigami Eye because he don't want to limit his lifespan. Light tried to find the identity of the man who followed him. He planned a date with the castmate Yuri. Light and Yuri are taking a bus. During the ride, a criminal named Kiichiro Isoreda pointed a gun at the bus driver. Light talked to the man to show that he is not hijacker, and he knows his name, Ray Peppers, an FBI person. Light dropped the paper that contained dating plan, used a page in the death note. After Osoreda touched the page, he can see Luke. He's running away and is killed by a car. At the underground shopping center, Ray is forced to write down his FBI people on the page of the death note, and after that, he died of the heart attack on the train station. After the death of the FBI agent, the American president stopped the FBI to investigate the killer. Some Japanese police officers stopped to investigate the killer, but some police teams still continue on the killer case, and they enter our hotel room to meet in person. I'll ask the Japanese task force to call him Ryusaki, and in another time, Light is asked to give his father code to the headquarters, but at the police headquarters, Ray Peppers Finance tried to meet the member of the task force to give information about Kira. Light plans to kill Ray Peppers Finance to prevent himself get caught. Ray Peppers Finance give Light her name Choco Maki. At first, Light is confused why Choco Maki don't die. Actually, her name is not her real name. Look at Light whether he needs Shinigami Eye. Light still refuses. Meanwhile, I'll give the detective special gadget attached in coding that will send a signal when killer comes into contact. Back to Light. Light stopped Ray Peppers Finance to go to police headquarters. She revealed that she once worked under L. Light tells her that she is the member of the task force and has her identification. She gives her driver license, Naomi Sora. The cause of her death in the note is committing suicide, that her body cannot be found, died within 48 hours. The task force begins investigating the death of the Ray Peppers. Al noticed that Ray Peppers was on the train longer than usual, and Naomi Misora disappeared after his fiancé is killed by Kira. Al remembered that Naomi tried to investigate Kira. Al will install surveillance camera on Yagami house and the police director house. Look back like for an apple, acid addiction similar to alcohol and cigarettes. And Luke is so addictive, which caused him to twist his body, but Light refused. When he goes to his room, he notices that there are surveillance camera and wiretape. Lai know that someone entered his room, so he tried to find out. Lai asked Luke to locate a camera so that he can eat an apple without being seen, and he also hid the page of the Death Note and mini TV in the back of the potato chip. He continued writing his name in the Death Note in the back of potato chip without being suspicious. Al see nothing suspicious. He instructed the task force to remove the camera and white tape. The next day, Al meets Light as a student named Hideki Ryuga. Both Light and Al get a perfect score on exam. Al dubbed Light Kira. Light cannot simply kill Al, even if he knows Al's real name. The task force will suspect Light immediately. Al challenged Light to a tennis game. Both were tennis champions. During the game, they are thinking whether if Kira is Light and if Al is Al. Al thinks if Light wins, Light is suspect because Kira is a person who is angry when he loses the game. Light wins the tennis game. So is Shiro Yagami. Light's father had a heart attack. So Ichiro revealed Al to Light. Al asked Light to stay in prison cell without television for 1 month to prove that Light isn't Kira. Light accepted Al's request. Sakura TV, a television station, received audio tape from the unknown person. This person blackmailed those audio tapes must be broadcasted. If not, everyone in the company will die. The head of the Sakura TV agrees. A manipulated voice in the audio tape is Kira. TV personality accused as the audio tape continued to prove Kira's power. This new Kira killed Ukita and other police officers without knowing their name. Light deduced that the second Kira had the Shinigami eye. Light joined the Japanese task force to catch the second Kira. The second Kira is revealed to be a woman named Misa Amane and her Shinigami limb. She had the Shinigami eye. The Japanese task force took the second Kira to reply a message. A second Kira really wants to meet the first Kira, so Misa replied the message. On the way to the cafe, Lem tells the Misa that Shinigami can be killed when they are falling in love with a human. There is one Shinigami named Gerard. Gerard was a man who tried to stab Misa by writing a man name in the Death Note to save Misa. Gerard dies and his lifespan is added to Misa. At cafe, Misa is waiting to meet the first Kira. Misa finds out that Light Yagami is Kira because she don't see his lifespan by her Shinigami eye. Misa searches for the Light Yagami home address to visit Light at his house. Misa let Light touch her Death Note and see Lem. Misa offers Light to be his Shinigami eye. She tells Light that she is more careful. She put other people's fingertips on the package which contains her audio tape to disguise herself. Misa gives Lai her death note so Lai can touch her, so that she will not kill him. She confessed to Lai that she loved Kira because Kira killed criminals who killed her parents. Lai agreed to accept Misa to kill Elle. Lai and Misa pretend to be lovers. Lai said to Misa that he will kill her if she doesn't follow his order. Lem warned Lai that if Lai tries to kill Misa, Lem will write the right name in the death note. Lai discovered that Misa is the famous model, which can make Elle easily suspicious. Elle suspects that the first killer and the second killer already met because the second killer is now loyalty to the first killer. Elle calls Lai his first friend, but Elle gives Moki a to tag Lai. Lem agrees with Lai to kill Elle because it will make Misa happy. Lai tells Lem to wait for his order. Lai talks to Misa that only him can make the call. Then he tells Misa to go home and kiss her. Misa is in love with Lai. Meanwhile, Elle tells the task force that if he dies in the next few days, Lai is killer because Lai is seen with Elle recently. On the next day, Elle reveals to Lai that Misa is caught because she had her DNA evidence in her audio tape sent to the Sakura TV. Elle reveals more that Lai is suspect because he found that there is the live phone call to the Misa's cell phone. Misa is sent to the room in the Elle underground. She refused to give any information to Lai. Him tells Misa that she can lose all her death note memory, Shinigami, and her Shinigami eye by burying her death note on the ground. Lem tells Lai at the forest. Lai buries Misa's death note. Lai tells Luke that if he says get rid of it, it means that he cancels his death note ownership. Misa loses her memory about death note. Lai decides to inform Elle that he thinks he may be killer. When Soichiro, Lai's father, heard that, he asked Elle to confide in the Elle room to calm himself. Elle is suspicious. Elle sent Lai to the room to confide himself. After 1 week, Lai decides to cancel his death note ownership, and then he loses his memories about death note. Lem used a businessman to use the death note to kill criminals. Bell and the task force think that Lai can be a killer because if he is a killer, the task force will be killed. Soichiro takes Misa and Lai out of the confined room. While Soichiro dies in a car with Lai and Misa, Soichiro parks a car and points a gun at the light. Soichiro shoots Lai, but the gun has no bullet. This scene is set up by Elle to test them. If they are killers, they will kill Soichiro. Elle clears their name as killer, but she is still suspicious as Misa's DNA found on the audio tape. Al placed security camera in Misa's room. Lai continued working with Al, so Lai and Al are handcuffed while working. Al make a decision that they will move to the new building inside the city. From unknown place, 8 businessmen plan to use Death Note to kill people. Who is watching a security camera from Misa's room? Misa asked for the privacy for Lai and Misa dating. Al concludes that the killer power can be passed on from person to person. Al disappointed that Lai and Misa is not here. After hearing that, Al and Lai start to fight. According to recent killer killings, Lai noticed big companies stock go down except Yosuba Company. So Lai concludes that killer is supporting Yosuba. Soichiro revealed that many politicians support Kira. Police will die if they try to stop Kira, and the task force member might lose their jobs. Masuda, Soichiro, and Moki decide to stay, but Aizawa quit the task force. Now and now, Iber and Wendy are spies, and Masuda as the Misa manager. Masuda hopes to do more research on Yosuba, so he goes to the Yosuba building, and in the meanwhile, Yosuba plans to get the L identity. The task force concludes that Yosuba is working with Kira. Masuda enters the Yosuba building. He hears them talking about the Kira. When he leaves, he fell down. 8 businessmen noticed him, so Masuda gives the fake identity to them. He said that Misa will be the presenter in Yosuba commercial. The businessman is suspicious, so they decide to kill Masuda. Al calls Masuda to confirm that he is in trouble, and Masuda tries to survive from those businessmen. He calls Misa to confirm that she is in commercial, so those businessmen don't think about the killing Masuda. They celebrate that Misa will be in their commercial. In the Misa apartment, Masuda can escape and call Al. Al orders Masuda to face his own death. During the party, Masuda tells them that he will do the show. He fell off the window, and Soichiro prepared a message for Masuda. Iber disguised as Masuda playing dead on the ground. The businessmen believe Matsui or Masuda, fake name, died. 2 weeks later, Matsui is reported as dead. The task force installed white tape and security camera on Yosuba group meeting. The task force learned that Yosuba Kira killed one of the Yosuba people named Hattori because he decided to leave Yosuba. The task force discovered the method of Kira killing, so they decide to save those people from Kira killing. L. Lai planned to be L to blackmail Namikawa, one of the ex-members of the Yosuba group, to delay the date. Lai revealed that there are cameras and wiretaps in Yosuba meeting. Namikawa canceled the Kira killing for 1 month. L faced the lie. If he would die, I could succeed him. L asked Misa to join the Inba group that Misa is the second killer. The Yosuba group want Misa to help them to find L. At first, Misa accepted, but I can't. Yosuba killer think Misa is the second killer. He thinks that she buried her death note to escape L. He planned to make a Misa wife to support him, then feel disgusted at Yosuba killer thought. Moki become Misa new manager, replaced of Masuda, while Misa is washing her hands in the restroom. Lem touched her with a piece of dead note from Yosuba killer and revealed that Lion Misa is killer and Kyusuke Hikuchi is Yosuba killer. Hikuchi, Yosuba killer, go out with Misa. Misa threatens Hikuchi if he tries to do pervert things to her, she can kill him with as a second killer. Hikuchi questions Misa cannot have any killer memories, so he thinks that she is safe for now. She cannot kill Hikuchi. He asks Misa to prove that she is killer by killing Ginso Kanabuchi, a corrupt business president. Misa writes the Ginso name on the paper, but the paper is in Death Note, so Lem writes it for her. Ginso dies. Hikuchi proves that he also killer by stop killing criminals on television. Misa returned to the task force to tell right, and she also recorded the conversation with the Hikuchi. Wright pointed out that this evidence is not enough, that Hikuchi cannot be caught. L.I. Wendy to set up camera to Hikuchi residence and his sick car. L questioned that Light and Misa don't have any memory about the killer killing. L says that Light used to be killer, but he transferred his power to Hikuchi, and that's why Light don't have the memory about the killer. L planned the way that Hikuchi can transfer his killer power. L asked Sakura TV to air the killer special program. Namikawa asked Hikuchi to watch this special program at Yosuba meeting. Members of Yosuba believe Hikuchi is killer because he gets all benefit from killer killing. While Hikuchi is sitting on the sofa, he is dreaming about marrying Misa to use her Shinigami eye. His goal is to become Yosuba CEO. Namikawa calls Hikuchi to watch television. He sees Masuda doing interview talking about the Catholic death. Hikuchi tried to kill Masuda with the paper, but he tried to contact Misa to use her Shinigami eye. Misa doesn't answer. Hikuchi realized that Matsuri is not Masuda's real name, so Hikuchi asked them to get Shinigami eye. Hikuchi died to Yosuba to get Masuda's name, but he discovered that the video tape is changed. Hikuchi realized that he is tricked. The task force arrests him. Hikuchi running away. Our helicopter tried to catch up with Hikuchi car. Wataru shoot the Hikuchi car. Hikuchi tried to shoot himself. Wataru shoot his gun. At the end, Hikuchi is caught. He confessed that he used the Death Note to kill people. So Ichiro touched Hikuchi's Death Note. He can see them, and Al also can see them when he touches the Death Note. Light takes Death Note from Al's hand, and his Kira memory returns. The Death Note that Hikuchi used is like Death Note. Misa's Death Note still buried on the ground. Like us look to write a fake rule, Death Note owner must continue to use at least one every 13 days. If Death Note is damaged, everyone who touches the Death Note will die. Like write Hikuchi's name on the small piece of Death Note hidden in his watch. The task force revealed the fake Death Note rules. They think they cannot get rid of it. Like order Misa to let's cover her buried Death Note in the ground, and she finds the slip writing about the L2 name. Luke and Misa commit the Shinigami eye, and then he finds that Misa right is reduced into half, and she can live several months. Al past is revealed. Actually, Wataru takes Al. He is orphaned, and Wataru take care of him during his childhood. Al had the feeling that he will die soon. Al continued to ask Lem about Death Note, but Lem revealed information not related to Light and Misa. Misa begins to use her Death Note to kill the criminal. Al questions if a piece of Death Note can have the same effect as the entire Death Note. According to the fake rule, everyone who touches the Death Note will die if the Death Note is damaged. So this proves Al and Misa innocent. Lem wonder why Light put Misa into the danger, and Lem understand that Light forced Lem to write the name of the L in her Death Note. So Lem love is in Misa, so she decides to kill Al, Wataru, and herself. Light in at her L dead and declare himself the god of the new world. Following the death of Al and Wataru, the task force learned that Wataru used his will to create the orphanage all over the world. Light become the new Al. Light create a voice of Al and Wataru while working on the task force, and Lai and Misa is living in the Lai apartment. Lai killed Ivor, Wendy, and the remaining member of Josubab group. Roger Louis, a manager of orphanage who take Watali Low, sent Melo and Mia to catch Kira, but they don't get along well. They work separately. 5 years later, Mia, who studies all our work, met the President of the United States to explain how Death Note works and say that there are 2 Death Notes. Mia worked together with the FBI director to create CIA and FBI Manforce called HPK. This is special force for Kira. Like sister Sayu entered the room, Masuda asked at Sayu about how her grew up. Soichiro saw Masuda and he declared that he don't allow Sayu to marry the police officer. Sayu tells Masuda that if he is younger, she might date him. And Sayu asks Lai and Misa when they will get married. Lai investigate team now consists of Lai, Soichiro, Masuda, Moki, Aisawa, Aide. Soichiro tells the director of the police Takimura is kidnapped. The kidnapper called Aisawa to ask for the Death Note. The next day, FBI agent John McEnroe meet with the Soichiro and want to see the Takimura. Soichiro keep the case in the secret for the Japanese only. McEnroe demand the Japanese police to give the Death Note back because he's not sure that they can manage the Kira case. The HPK is listening to their conversation. In fact, Melo and his people kidnapped the Takimura and asked for the Death Note. Takimura don't know about Death Note when Melo asked for the Death Note, but Melo does believe. Melo mentioned that Soichiro Online has much power in Japanese investigation team. Melo thinks that there are 2 Death Notes. One is at Kira and another is at Japanese police. Melo tried hard to beat Mia, like kill Takimura by Death Note. Melo believes that his people cannot be killed by the killer right now. Melo's next move is to kidnap Sayu. Soichiro tells Lai that John McEnroe's real name is Larry Connor. Misa comes to the room with revealing outfit, which makes Japanese investigation team surprised. Lai seems unsurprised and says goodnight to Misa. The investigation team gets call from the Takimura cell phone. Aisawa starts to record the call. The caller tells Soichiro that the deal about the Death Note is cancelled because Takimura is dead. However, they kidnapped Sayu for the Death Note. Lai realized that he made mistake in killing Takimura. Lai informed the investigative team that Kira had the way getting information from Japanese police who know about the Takimura kidnapping case. Meanwhile, Mia knows that Takimura is dead. They believe that Melo is the one who kidnapped Takimura. In the evening, the kidnapper called the investigation team. Aizawa began to record the call. The kidnapper asked Soichiro to bring Death Note to Los Angeles in 2 days, and they sent the Sayu photo on the television program to confirm that she's safe. At HPK headquarters, they say that the killer can gather information from the Japanese police to kill Takimura. They call the FBI, and his voice is modified as a secret, and he will talk to Nia. And they decide that Nia and Lai will cooperate to help the Sayu case. Lai prepared to go to LA. He asks Misa to come with him. He may need Misa Shinigami eyes. Melo forced Soichiro to board the different flights to make impossible to task force to monitor. On the plane, Melo men hijacked the plane. They sent Soichiro to their location. They sent the satellite image of the Soichiro drop-off desert location to Light. Melo asked Soichiro for the Death Note while the wireless earpiece. Soichiro entered Melo page. Nia and I feel worried that satellite cannot show the inside Melo page. Nia team tagged the masked man running to the helicopter. Melo destroyed the helicopter. Nia HPK member died from heart attack or gunshot. The on Shinigami, Ammonia Justin, and Shido Shinigami discuss about the look Death Note back. The scene shows unresponsive Sayu and in the wheelchair with Soichiro and her mother. Soichiro gives the note to Melo. Shido asks Luke about the note. Luke doesn't answer. He says he don't know. Lai knows that Melo and Nia come from the orphanage, and he also knows who is the owner of the Death Note by Misa Shinigami Eye. Misa sees the face of mafia member without the lifespan. Shido sees the Melo address, and he goes to the mafia page and asks mafia who had Death Note, and other member has Shido Death Note to see him. Shido tells them that the last 2 rules of Death Note are fake. Lai gives up his Death Note ownership and borrows Misa Death Note, and the next day, Misa, with a distorted voice, pretends to be a killer and tells the investigation team. Killer tells them that he will investigation team a Death Note if he can manage to get the Death Note that Melo and his mafia stole the Death Note from the killer. And the investigation team decide to follow the killer plan. And Soichiro decide to get the Shinigami Eye from Luke. And the investigation team go to Melo place, and most of the members die. And the investigation team can manage to get the Death Note back. Soichiro used his Shinigami eye to see the Melo name. His name is Michael Key, and while he tried to write the Melo name down, Jose, one of the mafia members, shot the Soichiro with a submachine gun. Jose is shot dead, and Melo set a bomb, and he escaped. Soichiro, with the Shinigami eye, doesn't see the lifespan, so he thinks that Light is not Kira. And Light asked his father to write the name of Melo down, but he died before doing it. Light returned to his stolen death note to Shido. The President of United States respected Kira for the reducing the crime. Yes, doesn't agree with the President of United States. Melo entered the near headquarters and used one of the SPK members as hostage. Melo asked for his photo so that the killer cannot kill him. In exchange, Melo tells Nia about the Shinigami and the fake rule. Nia investigates the fake rule and Light threatens the President of United States to tell information about SPK member and broadcast about the SPK member who tried to take over Kira. The mob attempt to enter the building to kill Nia. Demekawa, a director of Sakura TV, commands a mob to enter the SPK building. Misa also waiting in front of the building to kill Nia. Nia deduces that I is Kira. Aizawa, one of the investigation team, suspects Light after Nia tells the investigation team that Light is Kira. So Aizawa tells the Nia give information about Light and Misa. Confined in the room by L before, and Nia and SPK throw money of the window of the SPK building. The mob tried to catch money, and the mob got distracted. Nia and his SPK member dressed as a policeman with mask and body armor and escaped the building. Nia realized that Light used the fact that he is confined in the room to look out suspicious on him. Nia concludes that Light is Kira. Demekawa asked Kira to donate money to build a temple to worship Kira. Light thinks Demekawa is useless, so he decides to use the Mikami. His long name is Teru Mikami. He is the criminal prosecutor who has the same view as Kira. And Light tells Misa to give up her death note and mail it to the Teru Mikami. When Teru Mikami was young, he protected his classmates but after his mother heard that, she doesn't agree. And after that, his mother and his classmate who bully his friend is killed by the car. So he thinks that he is born to kill the evil. And in conclusion, he becomes the criminal prosecutor and join the Kira show. Like notice him and give him a death note. The next spokesperson who will be the next, and like choose the Kiyomi Takada. Matt and Nia were watching Lai and Takada meeting. Nia believed that Misa is the second killer. Melo disbelieved that Misa is killer because she is stupid. During the meeting, Lai called the Mikami and verified himself using the reference number from the package containing the death note. Now Mikami he realized that he is talking to the Kira, and Mikami opened the Sakura TV, and another spokesperson on Sakura TV died of the heart attack. Lai put a paper in front of the camera and the white tape of the investigation team to say that Kira want to remove all those camera and white tape. The investigation team removed them with no choice. Lai tell Takada that he is Kira and Mikami is his supporter, and he tell Takada that she will be the goddess of the new world. Takada accepts Lai call investigation team and tell them that Takada is his girlfriend from now on. Nia deduced that Kira and another Kira used Takada to communicate between them, and Mikami is the one that Nia thinks that is another Kira because he had the same vision as Light. Misa and Takada have dinner together. Misa gets drunk while drinking too much alcohol, and she tells that Misa and Light going to be engaged at the pop music festival where Takada hosted this event. Then Misa blackmailed Takada to kill her. Takada decided to end the dinner. Linnea heard that and he told Nia. Nia deduced that Takada and Misa are related to Light. Kawani, RSPK member, report the death of the man on the train who followed Mikami. During the Lai and Takada date, before that, Aizawa put the mark on the note where Lai used to find whether that Lai used the note to communicate with Takada. Takada realized that while talking to Rai, Takada realized that she is Misa replacement. During their dinner, they talking to each other and sending a note. Gavani, in the meanwhile, he record the Mikami lip movement, state that Shinigami keep a notebook and disappear. Nia consider that Shinigami is not harmful, so and Aizawa discover from the mark that he note on the line note. He found that they are using the note. Gavani, a HPK member, enter the fitness and he go to the Mikami locker. He found that a dead note is in the locker and he take a photo of all the names in that notebook. So he tell Nia and Nia decide to catch them. Nia plan to meet right in the abandoned warehouse. And all task force member and the HPK member will be there. But the Misa will not be there. And Rai also Nia tell Rai that he shouldn't bring the dead note. So, and after that, Matt decide to who hit the Melophanes decide to catch the Takada. And the Melophanes is killed by the Takada bodyguard. And then Melo managed to catch Takada. Rai and Nia that this violent act from kidnapping Takada is not the Nia. They both think is a Melo. So Melo asked Takada to take off her clothes and the dead note is a piece of dead note found on her bra. And Takada decided to kill Melo. She writing the name of the Melo, Michelle Key, on her piece of dead note. She know from the light tell her, and I decide to kill Takada because she have a piece of dead note containing the Melo name. So the building that where the Takada and Melo are there are burning into the fire, and Takada declared that she is dead. Aizawa is suspicious of Rai. HPK and the task force go to the warehouse where they meet. Nia is wearing the L mark to protect himself. He said he will waiting for 30 minutes to be safe. After 30 minutes, Nia mentioned that Mikami will come, and actually the Mikami come. He used Shinigami eye to see everyone's name and write it down. Nia said that don't worry, the name that write on the dead note, he used the fake page of the dead note, so nothing happened. And so that he said that the one who Mikami doesn't write the name down is Kira, and Rai is Kira because of that. And Rai is laughing. He thinks that Nia didn't add the fake page. He thinks it's the actual Death Note, but actually Nia confirmed that he add the fake page on the Death Note. In the end, no one died. Rai tried to create distraction and use the piece of the real Death Note in his watch to kill all the SPK members, but he couldn't do because Masuda shoot him many times, and he also angry that Rai didn't feel anything about his father. Mikami killed himself, and after that, Rai is running away. When he meets Luke, Luke decides to kill Rai because they already make the promise that Luke is the one who will going to write the name of the Rai down. Rai die, and Misa also jump off the own task force building to kill herself.